Hello, dear viewers, ladies and gentlemen. This is Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Shifar Alaka. Thank you for joining us. The foreign ministers of Germany and France have expressed keenness to reinforce bilateral ties of their respective countries with Ethiopia. Catherine Colonna, the French Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the German Foreign Affairs Minister Annalena Baerbock and their delegations have conferred with the Ethiopian President Sahle-Work Zewde on pertinent and current matters of Ethiopia. Their visit has come at a time when peace-building efforts in Ethiopia are taking a positive trajectory. In this context, the humanitarian assistance and reconstruction schemes are well on progress in affected areas in which both Germany and France are interested in taking share and soliciting funds. President Sahle-Work Zewde has thanked both foreign ministers for their concern and visiting Ethiopia. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has held in-depth and fruitful discussions with the French Minister of Foreign Affairs and the German Foreign Affairs Minister. Following the meeting yesterday, Prime Minister Abiy stressed that the in-depth and fruitful discussions are reflective of the strong relations Ethiopia holds with both France and Germany. The foreign ministers of France and Germany are in Ethiopia on an official working visit. The objective of the visit is to support the peace agreement signed between the federal government and TPLF in Pretoria, South Africa. Well, dear viewers, let's now turn our attention to trending stories over the past 24 hours. And I'm joined by my colleague, Daniel Kasaun. He's going to help us find some of the things that he observed. Daniel, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So what are some of the things that you observed?
As we watched it in the previous news we aired, both the French Minister of Foreign Affairs, Catherine Colonna, and German Foreign Affairs Minister, Annalena Baerbock, they're having official visits,
Right.
two days official visit in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
And they had fruitful discussion with the President and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and then they had discussion with the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Ethiopia,
Right.
Demeqa Mekonnen,
Mm-hmm.
on bilateral issues and also diplomatic and trade and investment, and also on the peace building process happening in this country. Let's watch what the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeqa Mekonnen has said.
All right, we'll be right back.
The EU will once again find a firm footing. I have also informed my colleagues from Germany and France that the government of Ethiopia has already issued a request to the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights alongside the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission to deploy human rights monitors in the conflict-affected areas. Second, to support the transitional justice policy consultation process. We also discussed the regional issues. We share common views on the nature of the challenges facing the Horn region.
The Deputy Prime Minister and the Foreign Affairs Minister Demeqa Mekonnen has mentioned the humanitarian issues and also the peace-building process happening in this country. Both ministers of France and Germany, they have great concern about the accountability for the atrocities happened in the past 2 years due to the war, the conflict between the war in the northern part of Ethiopia. It has affected Tigray, Afar, and Amhara regions, and many atrocities have been happening, and we had reports from the United Nations High Commissioner for and also from the Ethiopian Commissioner for Human Rights. Both the United Nations Human Rights Commission and the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, they had a report, a common report about the atrocities, and that has been well known and by the whole world, and they want accountability in the peace process. They said unless accountability is there, the peace process that we are aspiring and we are building may not be durable and effective. So accountability is their main request. They are pushing every responsible body to work for that. The Justice Minister Gideon Timotheus was there. He had discussion with them, and they are requesting the justice bodies to ensure justice, law and order in this country. That has been mentioned, and the Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen has extended his message of appreciation for both Germany and Ethiopia for their support during the challenging times Ethiopians had during the two-year conflict, the two-year war. And they were channeling humanitarian support to this country continuously. And their commitment was not interrupted in their bilateral relationship with Ethiopia. Both Germany and France, they have had over a century long,
exactly. Long time.
almost 125 years a robust relationship, and it was not changed, and he has appreciated their commitment. They want to work with Ethiopia because they said the peace in Ethiopia is the peace for the Horn and the peace for the entire continent.
Yes.
Unless Ethiopia comes stable and peaceful, the Horn of Africa will be affected, and the continent of Africa will also be affected. And now let's watch what both foreign ministers of Germany and France said.
All right.
Together in the spirit of a partnership, transparently, with fair and clear rules, which is in our mutual interests, without unfair loans. Because other states want Africa as a supplier of raw materials and as a market. Europe wants Africa as a good neighbor and friend.
As the minister and my friend Annalena Baerbock told you, what we wanted to do here is to have a joint visit, and this is the first Franco-German joint visit, and this is in a country which is very dear to our heart. It is a very important regional country with a long tradition. And
Ethiopia is a signatory of international rules, so you can't avoid their concern, because Ethiopia is working with the whole world. Both Germany and France are dominant in the European Union. Right. So the Franco-Germany joint visit to Ethiopia is the first of its kind in this country. And both want, they have repeatedly said transparency has to be there in the peace building process. With regard to the peace process happening in this country, the government of Ethiopia is doing it with its utmost efforts, and hopefully it's going to be successful. Yeah. So they want to exert more efforts. They want to help Ethiopia in everything it wants, it needs, in order to build peace and stability in this country. And it is in this context that the Foreign Minister extended acknowledgement to both foreign ministers, and the relationship is now changing from engagement to consolidation. That's what they said. The visit was extraordinary here at this time in Ethiopia, and this indicates that the relationship between Ethiopia and France, Ethiopia and Germany, is transforming from engagement to consolidation, and this is very appreciable. And today they are having a discussion with the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mahamat, and
so definitely we're going to keep our esteemed audience updated on the latest development, and this is going to be, going to beef up the bilateral ties between the two countries. Daniel, thank you so much for that update.
Thank you.
Now, moving on, Ethiopian ambassador to Djibouti, Birhanu Tsaggaye, underscores that trade and investment activities that strengthen the old friendship and development integration of Ethiopia and Djibouti have significantly been growing over the past 3 years. Ethiopia and Djibouti have enjoyed long-standing cooperation and strong people-to-people ties. Shagamat Azmoronat from the Ethiopian News Agency.
Ethiopia and Djibouti have enjoyed strong ties and cooperation in multiple spheres, including railway infrastructure and trade. Ethiopian ambassador to Djibouti, Birhanu Tsaggaye, reiterated that efforts are well underway to further strengthen the long-standing friendship and development ties between Ethiopia and Djibouti.
Ethiopia's and Djibouti's partnership have reached at a high level. We have an excellent partnership in bilateral, political, economic and people-to-people relations. The two countries are inseparable entities to each other and have one people despite having two governments.
The ambassador also noted that the two countries have a strong relationship based on mutual benefit in fields of roads, railways, electricity and water infrastructure, adding particularly the trade and investment activities being carried out by both countries as the institutional and individual levels have grown significantly over the past 3 years.
The two countries have invested a lot in economic spheres. It is the largest of all Ethiopia's neighboring countries' investments. There is a strong cooperation in the banking sector, food and beverage, fruit and vegetable export, trade, construction and energy sectors. Also, more than 90% of Ethiopia's import and export trade is being carried out via Djibouti ports. Furthermore, the two countries have invested on railway infrastructure that greatly benefits the two people.
The bilateral relationship between Ethiopia and Djibouti is at a higher level and stated that work is being carried out by both countries to strengthen the existing cooperation in many ways, he indicated.
The bilateral people-to-people and development relationship carried out by the two governments are an exemplary to integrate the East African region. There is strong people-to-people and economic integration with the two countries. This shows the commitment of the two governments. This is what we notice from the two countries' relationship.
In just 6 months, more than 2 billion liters of fuel, more than 229,000 metric tons of steel, and more than 57,000 container goods have entered Ethiopia through Djibouti port, it was learned.
Now, Ethiopians are enjoying the moment of peace now that the terms and conditions of the Pretoria Pact between the federal government and TPLF are being put into practice. Slowly and effectively, the walls of hatred and war between the TPLF-run Tigray and Ethiopia are being tumbled down. In this connection, to tell us more, when it comes to some of his observations, I'm joined by Gidena Ahmedin. He's a Tigrayan politician. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I think we should start with your overall assessment of the peace deal signed between the TPLF and the federal government. What have you observed in this regard?
Thank you. When the cessation of hostilities agreement was signed in Pretoria, I was one of the Ethiopians, especially a Tigrayan who loves his country.
Right.
My happiness and gratitude was so enormous. I was just, practicing politics so that to bring about peace to my country,
Yes.
to stop the war between two brothers and sisters. So I was first and foremost, I was happy when the agreement was signed, and then it continued to Nairobi. Then after that, our government, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, took turned every stone to bring peace to Tigray and Ethiopia. Then the infrastructure, like the repairment of the roads and the electrical power supplies and the telecommunication supplies and even the humanitarian aid and so on. So my observation is that is the pace of the peace agreement is going well, and I'm happy that the people of Tigray, especially the northern Ethiopia, has got peace. Now the people of Tigray are enjoying the fruits of peace.
Yes.
No war, no deaths, no casualties. So I'm happy, and my observation is this.
Yeah, thank you. So, TPLF's handing over of heavy weapons has already started, and this is also great development, right? What precautions must be done in this regard for the maximum benefits, for the maximum results?
Yeah, I'm happy again for the TPLF is handing over its heavy weaponry, and the precautions should be, we should move the weapons from Tigray to the hinterland, to the bigger Ethiopia, because sometimes, you remember when the North commandos targeted, it was one of the reasons for the heavy weaponry, which was situated in Tigray. So the precaution should be, we have to move the weaponry to Addis and so on, and the disarmament should continue.
Right. On the other side, there are some people within Tigray strongly opposing this deal and also beating the war drums. What's your message to that?
Thank you. These are conflict profiteers for me. They cannot, live without the fruits of war. Their advantages and their lives are highly interconnected with the war. So it's not only in Tigray. There are also some, very toxic Tigrayan diasporas living overseas. So the people of Tigray and the people of Ethiopia as a whole, we should, there should be some accountability. These masterminds should be taken into justice, and we should stop their, means of income by prevailing peace in overall Ethiopia.
Yeah, obviously peace is the benefit of everyone and everybody. Gidena, Ahmedin, Tigrayan politicians, thank you so much for your ideas.
Thank you, Jonal Shifaro.
ያመውም የመጣ ከገርነ ንግስተ ሰባ ጋር እያያዘራሱ ለምንድነው እንትን የተባለው ማይለምን የተባለው ዘንደው ነው እዚህ ውሃው ይጠጣል ማለት ነው። በርቀት ያዩን ሰዎች አይኑን ጎላጎላ ያለ በጣም እንትን ነበር ትላልቅ ነበርና አያችሁት አይኑን ሲሉት ሎሚ ያክላል ሲሉ ከዛ የተነሳ ነው ማይለምን የተባለው ነው የሚሉን። እንግዲህ በታሪክ የቆየ ነው ማለት ነውና ከዛ ጋር ነው የሚያያይዙት።
ይሄ ስፍራ በ1996 ዓመተ ምህረት በፈረንጆች አቆጣጠር ማለት ነው የአርኪኦሎጂ ዳሰሳ ተደርጎበት ነበር። የዳሰሳው ሪፖርት እንደሚያሳየው ይሄ ቦታ ቀደምት ሰዎች ማህበረሰብ ሰፍረውበት እንደነበረ ይገልጻል።
Welcome back. You're still watching Addis News Hour. Now, the Ethiopian Tourism Operators Association says the peace agreement has brought a new hope to revamp the tourism industry affected by the war. The association president Andinet Fellek underscored that developing new tourism destination is vital to benefit from peak tourism seasons. Kushmel has more on that.
Ethiopia is one of the top established destinations of tourism in Africa. It has a long and fascinating history, a rich and diverse culture, breathtaking landscapes, and a jaw-dropping range of wildlife. Ethiopia's peak tourist season is from September to January. In particular, festivals like Meskel and Temket are very popular among foreign visitors and global tour agencies. In particular, international agencies consider January the most vibrant and busy time to visit Ethiopia due to its colorful festival and the cool and dry weather during this month. Talking to Meet ETV Show, President of Ethiopian Tour Operators Association said the peace agreement has brought a new hope to revamp the tourism industry affected by the war.
Currently, I would say we are seeing very positive prospects. For instance, I would say even the ease of the COVID restrictions, the opening of all the borders, and as you said, the ceasefire and the peace agreement has really brought hope, a new hope, to restart the tourism industry.
Developing new tourism destination encourages the sustainability of tourism products, she said.
To develop a new, destination, you need to have all the infrastructures, which is actually beyond, the capacity of the private sector. So this is where, there needs to be even a policy intervention to develop, new destinations. It also balances, by the way, it really encourages, inclusivity. It also balances, the job creation, and also it also encourages the sustainability of our products, because some of them are really highly concentrated. And as I said, we haven't been able to segment our market. So I personally believe some of our products should serve only the niche market.
Andinet expressed that the government has shown a paradigm shift to understand the contribution of tourism to the economic sector, adding that the government is building a new tourism sites across the nation.
And the sector have seen a huge paradigm shift on the importance of tourism, which was really, backed up with huge moves like a shift from the social sector to the economic sector. And now we have a standalone tourism ministry. And we also see a huge, many mega projects, which are all, a positive signs and which shows, a call of action from at least from the top leadership. So I would say I would take this all as a positive opportunity.
She reiterated that Ethiopia should utilize exhaustively its tourism potential to benefit much more from the sector.
Compared to the potential that we have and compared to what our competitors have, and when you see where they are today and where we are today, you can tell that we haven't really tapped the opportunity. So I cannot say that we have really utilized our potential as a tourist destination.
Now, the Director General of Ethiopian Diaspora Agency, Mohammed Idris, has commended the Ethiopian diaspora's intense show of solidarity with their motherland during trying times. Kasam Chani takes it from here.
The Ethiopian Diaspora Service announced that in a bid to ensure Ethiopian national interest on the world stage, the Ethiopian diaspora community, in a very patriotic way, has engaged itself in gallantly defending a country. National interest evolve in time and situation. He noted that now the peace agreement is being reached, and he also called on the diaspora community to work to convince the international community to be a strong partner for our successful implementation.
The basic principle for our diaspora to engage with their country is the national interest. And by national interest, it depends on the time, on the situation. So during the war, the basic national interest for us was protecting the legitimacy, the sovereignty and unity of Ethiopia. And the challenge was, it was challenging the sovereignty of the country and also the unity of its people. So the role of our diaspora was to maintain, to keep, and also to show their solidarity with the state, with the people, with the sovereignty, with the unity of Ethiopia. Also, they did it in a perfect way, in a very patriotic way, in a very strong and continuous manner. They show their solidarity by protesting, any campaign against the country, and also by lobbying various institutions, thousands of electorates, government officials abroad, and also by demonstrating and by appearing on the mainstream electronic media, and also by writing on the print media. They show their solidarity in favor of the national interest of their country.
He said that the Ethiopian diaspora needs to strengthen its engagement not only in times of trouble, but also in times of peace, and to help the diaspora community understand the content and aspects of the peace process.
After the reform, as you remember, the the major speech His Excellency Dr. Abiy during his diaspora outreach program in America and also in German Frankfurt, in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and also in South Africa, Pretoria. The major point he focused was let's build bridge and demolish walls. So with this narrative, we are trying to bring more diasporas together despite their attitude, despite their orientation. So our diaspora engagement principle is not based on the supporter and opponent narrative.
He also called on the diaspora community to contribute its share towards sustainability, the peace agreement, stating that the diaspora have been intensively contributing to the development and image-building activities of Ethiopia. According to him, the recognition of the Ethiopian diaspora who played an immense contribution to their homeland will be held on the 26th of January 2023 in the presence of high-ranking government officials.